What is up, guys? Andrew here, and welcome to Comicbooker, all things comics from a creator. Um, so it's Sunday afternoon, and it's my birthday, and I am crunching my way through a deadline, and it's also been several weeks since I've been able to stream here because I was away at San Diego Comic Con. Hopefully, I'll have a video on that soon, but even if not, I thought I'd check in. This is a nice day of reflection for me, and it's always a good time to reflect when you're drawing because, your brain's just fully in the zone and you're just able to, sit with your thoughts for a little bit. So, if you're out there, if you're hanging out, if you're watching this a little late, I hope you are feeling inspired. And yeah, I'm going to start some music and we'll just get to drawing. And we'll go for about an hour. Okay? Cool. Here we go. And just to explain what's in front of me right now, this is a page of Aquaman. It's episode 15. So I'm working really ahead. And what I have on the left is a program called VizRef, which is where I put a lot of my references. These are like character designs that I've made throughout the thing. Some of them are spoilery, so I'm going to try not to show them. But yeah, I'm at the climax of the story and I'm just trying to draw it. And if you're curious about Aquaman, there are actually 6 episodes out right now, free to read on DC Universe Infinite. There's a link in the description, so you can actually read 6 full episodes right now, 3 of which I drew. The other 3 are drawn by fantastic Italian artist Nicky Lapi. So I hope I said his name right, but anyway, he's great. So yeah, check it out, and it's completely free. I'm so stunned that DC is actually doing this, and I'm really happy that we get the chance to do a story as expansive as this. It's a pirate. It's a giant pirate adventure set in the DC universe, an alternate DC universe, and we get to redesign all these characters in a new light. So yeah. I hope you like it. And yeah, I'm really pouring a lot of love into it. So as you can see from these pages. Oh boy, this is by the way, if you're wondering about the music is currently called Zelda's Midwest Emo Mixtape. And it's from a site called Game Chops, where they do a lot of cool versions of chill video game music. So yeah, if you're curious about the tracks that you hear in this video, check it out on gamechops.com. And yeah. And I will check the chat every so often just to make sure. Hey Diego, thank you for the birthday greetings. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's a very chill birthday. Yesterday, I went out with family. We went to a cool escape room place called Spyscape, where we had a whole crazy Mission Impossible activity where all these escape rooms with like various games and activities. It was a real workout, but so much fun. And we had some birthday cake, and then we had for the food we had like Filipino fried chicken, Jollibee, which is just my favorite thing ever. One of them, I have a lot of favorite things ever, but yeah, can't complain. It's a lovely lovely life where I get to draw like this and hang out with my loved ones and celebrate another year on this crazy big planet we're all living on. I need to see. There we go. Just kind of need to see his design. Make sure I'm not messing it up. I think. Hello, Silver Phantom LX. Oh wow, are we both Leos? Advanced happy birthday, my friend. Yeah, it's a good month. Can't believe summer has blown by so quickly. But it's been a good summer. I can't complain. It's just despite all the craziness of the world, you know, I've been able to hang out with friends. I've been able to get ahead on all my projects. And I feel like, you know, this Aquaman book I'm working on right now is really buzzing with so much energy. It's a real dream project, you know. I'm so freaking grateful I'm able to work on this. And so grateful I get to work with my writer, Josh Trujillo. He is just the best. I stayed over at his place in LA for a few days after San Diego Comic-Con, and we were talking about a lot of Aquaman ideas for the future. So fingers crossed we get green lights and, you know, things go as planned. But like, even as soon as the next arc, after this episode, we have some amazing things planned. And if you're an Aquaman fan, oh my gosh, we're just gonna bring a bunch of stuff from the history forward for people. All right, that looks good. Kind of wanna do these masks here like that. By the way, if anyone's wondering and just dropping in, I am on an M1 iPad Pro, and I am using Procreate as my my current inking program of choice. Although some of the other Aquaman stuff on the site, I used a combination of both Procreate and whatchamacallit, Clip Studio Pro. So there's a lot. Jose Seda, welcome. Thank you for the birthday greetings. Jose says, happy birthday to you, and your artwork is excellent and exciting to watch you create. Thank you so much, Jose. And thank you for being here on this chill Sunday. I hope you are feeling inspired. And for anyone who's new here, Draw With Me is basically a fun little, I guess I try to think of it as like being in a studio with another artist. It's just a draw along. I always find it wonderful drawing next to other artists. During San Diego Comic-Con, I was tabling with like 6 other Filipino artists, and it was so inspiring. It was just nice. You get a good energy from everyone. And when you see what they're doing, you kind of like, you get ideas for how to do your own thing, and everyone's so encouraging, and it's just a good vibe. And I kind of want to bring that to YouTube whenever I can, you know, if possible. I don't know how well it translates, but you know, but I enjoy it, so I hope you do too. Right now I'm making worlds with this quick line tool. There's these circles, and they're actually supposed to be planet Earths. Whoops. And notice it's an ellipse when I make it, and then I hold my finger down and it snaps into a circle. So perfect circle. It's one of the little Procreate tricks that a little harder to do in Clip Studio. So okay, let's do that. And then something like that. So what's happening right now is our big baddie is royally pissed off, and they're throwing up a giant scary display of power. So that's why things are looking really wild right here. And actually I'm gonna do a trick that I have been doing for the past few pages. Which I will show you in a little bit. Okay, I hope I got that right. Sort of? Wait, let's see. What's going on here? I'm on the right path? I think I am. Yeah, I am. Something's up. So I'm trying to auto select it, and there it is. See that? That's a gap where the selection tool is falling out. So whoops. And there's probably another gap somewhere. I just need to figure out where it is. There it is. Woo, this is always extra hard. I wonder if it's down here somewhere. There we go. Okay. Got it. And then I need this to be okay. Is this okay? Are we okay now? There we go. All right. I think that's working. Yep. And then do I like this shape really? I think I might edit it a little bit. Might do something like that. And then flip it to the right. You'll see why in a second. Whoops, there we go. It's so fun with energy stuff. You can really go abstract and And some of it is like just how cool does it feel, you know what I mean? I think back to Kirby Crackle, which you can actually see a little bit of up there, which is Jack Kirby's sort of shorthand for showing power and energy and um, cosmic essence and stuff like that. Um, and I think about how a lot of these energy display things like speed lines in manga and other stuff like that, it all comes down to, you know, an abstract sense of like what works well in shapes and forms. And a lot of that is down to feel. Does it feel good? Does it feel like, you know, the moment you're trying to describe? There we go. Okay, I think that's good. I'm gonna use that and whoops. I messed it up again, lol. There we go. Got it. Okay. Boom. So first I'm gonna select the sections that are gonna have the cosmic drama in it. And then I'm gonna go to a new layer. I'm gonna fill that with black. Boom, 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 boom. Right? And then I'm gonna go to the eraser and jump into these galaxy brush things that I saw. It's by Dice Yukov. You can find on Instagram, DI space DI or SYUKOV, and they make free brushes. So this is a galaxy brush, which sort of gives you, it uses a texture, and this might be too strong. I might do this. Yeah, it uses a texture to give you sort of a galaxy effect. And then I combo that with all of these little star effects, and then I throw just a bit more, just smaller star field things here. I'm leaving this on a separate layer so the colorist can see the shape, and they can actually like play with it if they wanted to. It's just on its own layer. And then, I mean, that's more or less the effect I want. I go back with just a little bit of finessing here. I want the Kirby Crackle to like be more visible up here, so I'm just gonna erase a bit up there. Boom. And it becomes a really cool little texture that makes you feel like, you know, it's outer space. Boom. There we go. Woo! And then you get this kind of effect, kind of like what you see up here. Last thing I'm gonna do with this is, let's turn that off for a second, just so I can see it well. I'm gonna go, so this goes into the galaxy, I'm gonna merge it with the galaxy SFX layer. Oop, I just noticed something. We'll go to inks. And fill this in also with black. Throw a bit of this down, boom. There we go. And then throw a bit of this down. There we go. Looks seamless. And then lastly, I'm gonna draw some red lightning stuff on top of it. As you can see here on the left, the reference shows a kind of multiversal rift all around the character. And I'm just trying to impart to the colorist what that rift will be. And it's a little bit controlling, but also I feel like, you know, I'm open to them doing whatever they want. And putting their own stamp on things. But I feel like giving more information rather than less is better. Just so they can, you know, make some cool decisions based on what they see. There we go. And this gives this pen, this is the default pen if you have Procreate. Whoops, am I on the right layer? I might be. I am. Okay, good. If you have Procreate, light pen is a default brush in the luminance section, so just check that out. It's one of my favorite things for energy effects. Let me check the chat really quick. Oi, it's hello more Oro. Thank you for the birthday greetings. And Sir Joshington, nice to have you here, sir. Lucy Luziel says, hey, great to see you live again. Have you been made? Good evening, chat. How are you all doing? Welcome, Lucy. Nice to hang out. Gabriela Cordoba, hello. She asks, hi, have you used Adobe Fresco to do comics? I have not. Even though I have picked up Fresco, I haven't actually had much time to play with it as a comics tool. Big fan of it because one of my favorite brush makers, Kyle T. Webster, worked on it, and apparently poured a lot of love into it. Kyle no longer works on Fresco. I think he's transferred over to Procreate. But you know, if you have the Adobe suite, it's a really good... Actually, if you don't, I think they just made it free. It's a pretty full-fledged program from what I can tell. So, you know, if anyone in the chat has used Fresco, comment. Let us know how it goes with comics or even illustration work, you know. It was one of those free apps that I think, you know, you can't argue with free. Master of Figures, welcome. Thank you for the birthday greetings, guys. I really appreciate you. Yeah, this is like, honestly, such an ideal birthday where I get to spend such a lovely, meaningful amount of time drawing, doing the stuff I truly love, which is just, you know, hanging out on the drawing desk and making cool stories happen. You could see a while ago it looked a little rough, but you can see it start to look a little better, right? I'm just filling in the gaps on this temporal rift effect. And I bet you this is gonna look amazing when it's colored. So our colorist on Aquaman is Big Door Studio. They are a lovely coloring studio from India, and they have been doing phenomenal work on Aquaman. Really, every crazy thing I've thrown at them, they've like just they've outdone themselves constantly. And you know, this is the first time I've ever had my work colored by someone else, and I'm so happy with what they're doing. It feels like they keep doing stuff which I couldn't do myself. You know what I mean? Like, they just take it to another level. Oops. Yeah, check out the link below in the description if you want to see some of the coloring work they've done on Aquaman. It's been a revelation for me. All right, we're almost done. With this. And honestly, the borders layer should go higher, so I'm gonna move it here. There we go. That way it hides the lightning SFX. So yeah, on the topic of coloring, again, this is my first time letting someone else color me, and Big Door Studios doing an amazing job. What I've been doing is basically just doing line work and occasional little SFX layers on the files, like I'm doing right now. And I send it over to them, and they just work their magic with it. It's been really lovely. I also send these, like, you can see here, these are the guides, the design sheets I put over, and I noticed they are hewing close to the colors that I set in all these guides here. So it's been really inspiring to sort of give over art to another person and then see what they do with it and see how they respond to it and make new stuff. And I guess that's the spirit of comics, right? Where it's a real collaboration. They are doing things that I just could never do. I don't have time, and I never take that much time to color, and it's so nice to see my work given that much love by someone else. And the other upside to that is, for the first time, I'm actually able to draw faster for DC and like do more pages under deadline. You know what I mean? Now that I'm not coloring my work, so it works out really well, I think. All right, this is happening. There we go. I think this is the last bit. Boom. Oh, this one more bit here. All right. That's looking cool. I might do something like this. Whoops, something like that. Just to give a sense of like the lightning coming down. There's gonna be a bit of dialogue that goes over this middle part, so I'm not gonna like over detail it. All right. And then now that I'm here, we're gonna go back to drawing. And I'm gonna draw a few continents on these planet Earths here. Lefty, hello. Welcome. Lefty says, dude, I was just thinking about you yesterday. Glad to see you back. Missed your videos. Happy birthday. Thank you, Lefty. I'm happy to be back and I know I've been kind of quiet for the first half of this year. That's because I've just been so busy trying to um, get on with the schedule, the hyper deadline schedule of Aquaman. But now that I feel like I'm getting a bit more of a hang of it, I'm gonna try to incorporate more YouTube stuff back in. So hopefully you'll see me at least once a week, if at the very least on a live video, if not one of the actual edited videos. I have a few in the hopper, hoping to get edited and out soon. Yeah, one of the cool things I said to my writer Josh when we were working on this episode was, with Psycho Pirate, I really wanted to lean into the iconography of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that's why we have all these Kirby dots and planets floating about. You know what I mean? It's just the reduced graphical signifier for like a multiverse ending Crisis. Which is really fun because I think Psycho Pirate is one of those characters that, if you think of DC history, they've really had like a major impact on, or presence, like with every Crisis. So it's just nice to get to do our own version of him that still calls back to like the mainline DCU stuff he's been in. There we go. Almost done. And then we'll work on some characters. My writer, Josh Trujillo, is in the chat. Guys, if you have Aquaman questions, please ask them of Josh, and hopefully he'll answer what he can. Some of you may have already read the 6 episodes that are already out and free to read on DC Universe Infinite. So if you have questions about those too, this is your moment to ask the writer. Okay. Now I am gonna go into drawing our boy Hawea. And I'm gonna look at my character design here just so I can remember how I drew the back. It's a little complex. I don't know why I did this to myself. There we go. Now would be also if you're interested in seeing a certain character or DC person in Aquaman, like our pirate version of it, now would be a good time to request, because Josh can make that happen within reason, of course. I will tell you guys that our upcoming episodes are not strictly confined to Aquaman lore, but we're actually pulling from the wider DC universe and able to play with all these other characters. So yeah, if there's someone you want to see, tell Josh. Sir Joshington says you don't do a base sketch layer, just right into it. Uh, it depends on the drawing. If it's really complicated, or like anatomically confusing, I'm gonna go in with a base drawing layer. But right now, all I need for this is just a layout thing. Oh, and I don't know if you can see it on the. Wait, give me a second. There actually is something down here. You can let me make it a little darker just so you can see it. Lucy is asking for Blue Beetle, lol. You guys may not know this, but Josh Trujillo has written a freaking phenomenal, probably the best Blue Beetle run for DC Comics. I think there were 2 seasons of it, at least 3 books worth, possibly more, and it's worth seeing. My opinion, it's even better than the movie, and it goes everywhere in a wonderful way. So yeah, if you haven't checked out Josh's Blue Beetle, their artist is Adrian Gutierrez, who is now a superstar working on World's Finest. But Adrian really showed his full range working with Josh in Blue Beetle, and it's a really fun, fantastic, frenetic book that also goes to all sorts of places in the DC universe. So definitely worth your time. And speaking of time, Josh has also written a bunch of really awesome Adventure Time graphic novels, so you should check that out too if you like Adventure Time. Josh is one of the lucky people who's actually gotten to officially write them. Josh says there's a good Blue Beetle Easter egg in Tuesday's episode, drawn by Bradley Clayton. Oh yeah, I haven't mentioned Bradley. Bradley is the third, and possibly the best artist, in our trio of Aquaman artists. Bradley will be doing their first episode this coming Tuesday, and it is a big blowout episode called Secret Origins, where if you've been reading the series, a lot of your questions may finally be answered. Maybe it's gonna raise more questions, but yeah, I love Bradley's work. I think this is Brad's first official work for DC Comics, so it's also like a good time to get in on the ground floor with your new favorite artist. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And if you go on Instagram right now, I think his Insta is Bradley Clayton. Let me check. It's Bradley A. Clayton. If you go on Instagram right now and check out Bradley A. Clayton, um, you're gonna see his Mera character design, which is just freaking phenomenal. And I can't wait to draw it because, you know, I haven't been. I haven't had the good fortune to draw Mera yet, but I know that's coming up soon. Hello, Vladimir. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. And thank you for the birthday greetings. I really appreciate it. I'm just having a lovely time drawing Aquaman on my birthday. Like, what more could you ask for, right? This is my dream. Alright, we've gotten through that. Hawaii's beautiful hindquarters down to his thighs and legs. There's a little bit of foreshortening going on here, which I'm gonna try to do with grace. Boom. Josh Losses Keysman says, I'm just here to spy on Andrew's pages. Oh my gosh, it was such a blast hanging out with Josh in LA. And drawing in the same room as the writer, which is honestly like not an opportunity you often get as a creator, you know. Often it's like when I first started working with Josh, which was like my first DC script, I didn't have much communication with him. I was just working off of the script. Luckily, he went to New York shortly after that for, I think it was FlameCon. And then we met in person for the first time. It was great. But yeah, it's really different when you're able to like talk to your collaborator as a person and, you know, mind meld properly. I think it makes the stories better. I think it gives you a more beautiful realized vision. Alright, let's see if I can get this Hawaii's helmet in a cool way. Something like that. Boom. There we go. Hmm. Something like that. I'm not sure I'm happy with the perspective on this. I might just tweak it a bit. Alright. I'm almost done with Hawea, and then we get to draw Jackson. Alright. That's Hawea done. And I think this is the first time... I don't like it. Wait. I think this is the first time in this story where he puts on his Sea Hammer helmet, so... Alright, now for Jackson. See if I can get him in this shot. Jackson from behind. Boom. Tom Fogel, oh my gosh, my friend. Hello, nice to see you. Thank you for popping by the stream. I love drawing Jackson. There we go. I want to redo his ears a little bit. Something like that's better. Boom. Oh wow, chat is wow. There's a lot. So Luziel says, question for the writer Josh Trujillo: did you change something about your workflow to accommodate different artists' flow? Also, do artists give you ideas and or inspire the way you write your works? And Josh replies, so our three artists are all very talented and have different strengths. I changed my process a little for Nikki, our Italian artist, to make sure I'm extra clear in case there is a language barrier. It is rare, but it does come up with international artists. They might want more reference material because our cultural references are not the same. Oh, I didn't realize that. That's really insightful. And then he continues, with Andrew and Bradley, I do a call with the artist about each episode, so we chat about my inspirations, their idea, everything. Andrew always brings 110%. Working with friends is great because we can just text each other if we have questions or need a sounding board. I completely ratify this. I love working with Josh. It's so much fun and it's so collaborative. You know what I mean? You really don't feel like there's any ego in the process. It's just, you know, you're both working to make the best possible story you can. And there's so much joy in it. And that's really what I want, you know, when I do work that is, I mean any work I do really, I want there to be a sense of joy in the comics I make. So, and I also want it to feel like, you know, friends jamming. I think some of my favorite comics really feel like a big creative jam between skilled creative people, and you know, I'm grateful I get to do that with Josh and Nikki and Bradley and Big Door Studio. It's just it's so great, you know. I'm so proud of the book we put together, and I'm really so happy that I was telling Josh this the other week when we were hanging out. I'm just so happy that unlike all the other, I think I've done like 4 other DC books at this point, just little short stories for them. But what was hard about doing those books, the least advantageous part is that I have to ask people if they want to see it. You know, they need to go out and buy it. And the great thing about this Aquaman series we have going on right now is literally anyone and watching this right now, you can go to the description and there's a link there and you can read it right now. And I think that's such a wonderful convenience, and I can't believe DC is letting us do this, you know. Oh, Bjorn says happy birthday. Hello, Bjorn. Thank you so much for the greetings. Jared Messing. Hello, Jared. Thank you for popping by the stream. And thank you for the birthday greetings. It's a lovely birthday. I think I need to make these short sleeves a little shorter just to show off Jackson's guns. This is honestly gonna be, look how tiny that is, but you know, I don't know. I think it looks cool, so. I'm trying to draw more details than you can possibly absorb while reading it, so that just in case someone rereads it, they have a little more to see the next time. All right, that's this panel more or less done. Turn the layouts off for a sec so I can see. I'm gonna draw some of Jackson's water sword in here, which is so cool. I love that. I love that we've been doing a bunch of sword fights in the series, and getting to draw Jackson go nuts with his water powers is such a joy. I'm so inspired right now by some of you have read Witch Hat Atelier. It's this manga that is by Kamome Shirahara, and I am trying to read it slowly because it's running out so fast. But it's so beautiful, and the way she draws water, the way she draws everything, really, is just so inspiring. I freaking love her, and I'm bringing some of her. Hopefully, I feel like she's teaching me just by telling the story of Witch Hat Atelier, and I'm really enjoying imbibing all her techniques and hopefully using it in these Aqua stories. But yeah, when I think of this water sword, I'm like, how would Kamome draw it? You know what I mean? I'm just thinking of that. I mean, obviously I can't draw it the way she would draw it, but if I can get just a smidgen of like how she might animate that water, because it really does feel animated. It doesn't feel two-dimensional at all. That makes me happy. And it goes back again to that thing I was talking about earlier about abstract shapes and just getting the vibe right with all these powers that we're trying to depict. All right, a little bit more shadow. One of the things I'm trying to do with this episode is try to go heavier on the spot blacks. Right before this, I had an episode that was like brighter and sunnier and had more of an open line. So I'm trying to change it up wherever possible, and I think the darker tone fits this episode, which is all about a lot of emotional turmoil with Jackson and Hoea. So there we go. Okay, we are at, it is, how long have I been on? Are we still good on time? So it is 6:17. I'm gonna wrap this up in about 15 minutes. So just letting you know in case you're drawing along, kind of pace yourself. My last stream before I left for San Diego, I didn't realize it, but actually we went for like 3 hours, which is insane. But well, I'm grateful people watched it anyway. But I'm still trying to keep these things to an hour, whenever possible. All right, there, and then maybe a little bit of reflections over here. This is kind of like drawing the Silver Surfer or whatever, where you have a lot of these organic reflections and you can kind of improvise them based on what's going on in their environment. As long as they follow the form, it should work, really. Lucy says, I'm learning to draw armor. So many moving parts. Yeah, so Lucy, yeah, it's really just, you know, you want to make sure. So every line you put down has to describe form in some way, right? And so you just want to make sure, first off, that you get your armor, like the big blocks of it down, and that it kind of follows proportionally with the anatomy of the character wearing it. And then once that's established, you can really just play around with how the reflections go on. Just while you're drawing them, try to keep in mind that you're trying to still follow the form. And your lines and your shape should still somehow describe the way that the metal surface is rolling. So there. I'm gonna try not to overdo it because actually this is like a far shot. But yeah, well, I think I can do a shadow there. It'll look cool. Yeah, that looks good. All right. And then now I kind of just want to make sure that the ground has indications. Because right now it looks like they're standing in the void and they're actually standing on red rock landscape. There we go. And I don't think it needs a lot, but especially since there's so much detail happening off on the, you know, this power signature explosion on the side. But one thing is I'm gonna try to be broad to specific, so whatever the big major shapes are, I'm just gonna try to get that in there, just so you have a feeling of like how the perspective is going, you know. And then once that's in, I'm free to noodle and like add more details as I feel. I honestly love just adding details over and over when I'm on the bus or I'm drawing out and about. My favorite thing to do is just to hatch and cross hatch and add little stippling bits in the shadows, and that's just so fun to do. And it's easy to do once you've established your big shapes, you know. Okay, more or less, that looks good. I'm also like really grateful. I started live streaming at a late time because I feel like we were lucky enough to have Josh come on the stream really briefly. Um, since he lives in LA, the time zones are not friendly when I do like a morning live stream. So yeah, I'm so happy you guys got to have a moment with him. He's really just a great collaborator, and his Aquaman story is just so epic. Like, our latest story arc, the last 3 episodes have like so many awesome twists and turns. It's crazy. Like, even me just reading the scripts, I was gasping here and there just because the way the story unfolded. It's also like super funny. I hope you get a good chuckle out of it when you read it. It's got a lot of good times because Harley is in it, obviously, and Harley always brings her zany energy to any story she's in. So here's oh, let me show you. If you haven't seen it yet, here are the designs for Harley and Ivy. That's for the latest story arc, and so if you want to see them in action, check out the comic. Yeah. All right, here we go. Now we're gonna get to the masks, and this should be the last bit for this panel. And it's the same thing with the armor, except because these are like facial expressions, I'm trying to keep them just a little more fluid. Because I also want it to feel like they're manifesting live from the golden mask. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you know Psycho Pirate, you'll know what I'm talking about. There we go. And yeah, for this, no underdrawing, but hey, they're just like cool, creepy faces, so. That's the mad one. And then this is gonna be the sad one. I'm just trying to remember how I like simplified these faces, and I think it's like an inward tear like that, and then one tear that goes down like this here on this side. And that's the sad face. And then we have the happy face. Oh boy. Lucy Luziel says, love the usage of the algae for the puffy parts of Ivy's dress. Also, did you watch the new Superman movie? I loved it. I watched the new Superman movie and I absolutely enjoyed it. I had high hopes. I already had, like, because I love Ultra Superman. I love Superman for all seasons. There's a lot of Superman comics that I'm just like a huge fan of, and I was just hoping that the movie would do the character justice, you know what I mean? And it totally did. It totally did in the most wonderful way, and it does that trick which I loved in Captain America Winter Soldier, where we we show you a good man, or a good honest man, and then we surround him with people who will, by contrast, show you what makes him so unique and different, right? And I love how everyone else in the Superman movie, including Lois, of course Lex, and but also all the other superheroes that guested there, were able to, in their own way, paint Superman's character just by contrast. And yeah, it's great. I'm so happy it's doing well. I'm so happy it's people are receiving it well. And honestly, I can't wait to watch it again. I haven't watched the new Fantastic Four movie yet, though. I missed it because I was traveling, but hopefully when I'm done with this latest Aquaman deadline, I'm gonna make a little time for myself to enjoy that, because I think that's another one I want to watch while it's still in theaters. I love the Fantastic Four, especially the Hickman run. All right, that's one mask done. Do the second one, the scariest one. Luziel says, true, it's like the others were walls that the character could bounce off of it and give said character even more layers to their personality. Yeah, and it reminds me of I don't know if you guys are familiar with Karl Barks. Karl Barks is probably the most legendary Disney cartoonists. Depending on who you're talking to, they're the number one, or they're just as good, or second only to Don Rosa. I don't know, I love Don Rosa also. But Karl Barks famously was put on the title Donald Duck back in maybe, I think, 60s or 70s. I'm not sure, it was just like a while back, right? And Disney had very strict ideas about like what you could do with Donald Duck. Donald Duck had a personality that was very simplified. You could only do so much with the character. They had all these rules, and so as a writer, as a cartoonist who had to come up with all these stories for Donald, he felt very hamstrung by all these rules and thought, okay, how can I build Donald's character without changing him, because Disney won't let me. And so what he did was he built all these other characters to serve as contrast to Donald, and that's how Uncle Scrooge came to be. That's how Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Duckburg came to be. You know what I mean? They were all built so that Barks could show Donald's character. And the wonderful irony of it all is they ended up becoming even more fully fleshed out than Donald himself. Now, if you think of Duckburg, you think of Uncle Scrooge and Scrooge's Indiana Jones style adventures and all those wonderful um, crazy moments with Huey, Dewey, and Louie. It's he didn't make Huey, Dewey, Louie. Those were from the cartoon, but he made Scrooge and Gyro Gearloose and like all these other amazing characters that are now just part of the Duck universe, you know. And I feel like that's what happened with Superman. It was just like, you know, a lot of these other characters brought him into such a wonderful focus and showed you why being simply good, simply kind is you know, such a wonderful thing. And sadly it's novel in this day and age of a lot of cynicism and I hope he inspires people to maybe take that track, you know, where you try to believe the best in everyone and you try to lift each other up and not be so you know, cynical or worried. At least not too persistently so. It's not good for your health. Alright, I'm on the last mask. And when I wrap this up, we're gonna wrap up the stream. Whoops. Whoops. All right, I think that's it. This is this panel done. Spent a good hour on it, but this page is feeling pretty good. There you go. All right. Oh no, did we lose signal? Uh-oh. We lost iPad signal. Sorry guys. Doink. Oh well. So I don't know when that happened, but I'm gonna call it. Thank you so much for being a part of this stream. If you drew along, I hope you had a lovely time drawing. And I wish you a lovely day and the rest of your week. Let's go get it. Tomorrow's Monday, and I'll see you in about a week. Have a lovely one. Peace.